Brian, you saw, and Tom, you saw yesterday, and you've been seeing, Jess, like this jury more and more. I mean, I saw it in a span of 2 days, just 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, 1.5 days. 1.5 days, I saw the jury a difference in their restlessness. Already just a massive difference in just one day. They were they were already tired of it. The way that they reacted when Jackson showed that footage was you couldn't hide it. Like it was crazy. There was like at least three people that were just like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah. Yeah. There was definitely an audible gasp today when they saw, like I said, and Jess, I wish you were there for that. The
Yeah,
audible gasp. It showed that Karen backing up. They superimposed it, like they blew it up, and they showed John's tire move. And literally, I looked at the jury right when it was about to happen. I think I saw four of them kind of snap back a little bit, and there was just, remember, Will, it was a kind of an audible gasp, like, oh, like you kind of
yeah,
heard it. Yeah.
yeah.
They're definitely getting more comfortable being there. I mentioned yesterday that, and the first five of them, when they're in a break, they turn towards each other, they interact. I think they passed gum back and forth.
Mhm.
Keep in mind, in the beginning, these people didn't know each other. They didn't break bread together. They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't talk at all, and they are much more loose. They're much more relaxed. And I think they're letting things show. We talked prior to the show about that first juror in the back row, all the way at the top.
Yeah.
You guys don't know, but that window used to be open. They have it blocked off now, so it had a glare coming in. He was constantly looking out that window, but he's even more distracted than normal. I never see him write anything in his notebook. I never see him, really he's really looking everywhere else but at the witness stand, and that's just continuing to accelerate. I interpret that as he has had his mind made up already for a long time. And there are some jurors we know, and I'm sure, Will, you've seen, some are really intense. They really want to watch and pay attention and are curious. We always try to think in the press box, what could their occupations be? Maybe somebody's in the medical field or medical industry. Maybe somebody works in a hospital. So particular points of testimony are interesting to them. But I do find that they are getting more antsy and moving around more. And I think it's just because the testimony is falling flat. I wasn't there today, and I'm so sad I missed it. But Lally's questioning yesterday of Yuri was just monotonous, and
Right.
there's just nothing really to take note of for the jury.
The jury sees it, right? I feel like the jury at this point, at least some of them,
Mhm.
feel like their time is being wasted.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's on the prosecution. That's their fault. It's between them and the judge as to whether or not their time is being wasted. The defense is just there to defend. Like we don't want to be here any more than you do. So they have that in common in that sense, and it's the prosecution's job is to make them feel like they have a reason to be there. And I don't think that any of them feel that way. I know that there's at least a few. I could just tell they don't want to be there, but yet some of them are you could tell are very attentive still. There's two in particular that are on the end, on the other end of the side you were talking about, the other end, and on the bottom.
Yep.
The
Yes.
two on the
Yep.
very end. The two on the very end.
Yep.
Those two are always, I don't want to
yeah.
describe them physically, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Those two are constantly taking notes. Constantly. And today I saw them taking notes, but more engaged.
Yeah.
So those are the two that stood out to me as that were the most engaged and least biased, just interested in hearing everything and assessing everything. At least that's the vibe I got from them.
Mm.
And today they were more engaged.
Let me ask you guys, and I was talking about this with Sue from Boston, NBC Boston. Who would you pick out of the jury, now that you've seen them all, that would be like the foreman or the leader of the jury? Because you have to have one that's kind of in charge. Have you thought about who might be the one that's in charge?
I did for a minute there, but I didn't put a lot
We'll
of
have to
thought
talk
into
about it off air, but I'm curious if we all have kind of the same ideas.
Yeah.
My
I
guys
have
in the
mine in
back.
mind.
Can't miss them.
Yeah.
That's who I
I
think.
have mine in mind. Real quick, let me just get to this, and this is a very important super chat that came in. Kelly Reed, thank you so much for jumping on and being in the chat tonight. We absolutely love you. She said, thank you both for coming into court with us. Plus, you're all for all your tireless support. We appreciate all, and thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody on this panel. I appreciate everybody in this chat, everybody that stands out in front of that courtroom and has sacrificed so much time. And I was saying that today on the end of my live outside the courtroom. If it wasn't for all of you, and I think Alan Jackson made a great point to me today, and I had the honor of meeting Karen's team and meeting Karen today, which was very special. And I got to share that moment with Will, was in the room with us. And Alan Jackson came over us and said something to the sort of, if it wasn't for all of us, everybody that has been doing the work on this, the public support around the world, that this case would be definitely different. And I have to agree. You all have made an incredible impact. You all have sacrificed so much to go out and take. And I hear everybody, I took a day off. I didn't want to go into work. I wanted to be here. I'm taking time off from work to be here. You traveled up, Will. That's awesome, man. That's like deep respect, man. You came up and you hung out and you had the ability to go in and sit in court twice, man. That's pretty good. That's awesome.
I still can't believe that. Yeah.
Awesome. And to take that and come up here and do that, we all make this wheel spin. And if it wasn't for the man on top, Turtle Boy, to really get the grease going in the wheels, it really wouldn't have spread as large as it has. And everybody's been doing their part. So,
well, it was cool what Jackson was saying, because it's like Karen Reed and her team see that, what you're talking about. And it was Jackson made it a point to tell us that today before court started.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And he was saying to us that it was a pleasure to have us there, because they're so grateful for all of the support that's happening. Not just outside, but online, and the positive social media. Because if you really think about it, I mean, he didn't say this, but when you think about it, it's nobody in mainstream media is stating all the facts.
Right.
We're the only ones that are actually exploring the facts and talking about them and being so loud about them and we're not holding back about it. And I would imagine, when they say that they're grateful, they mean it. And they really treated us like that too. It wasn't just, they didn't just take a second to tell us that. They were, between yesterday and today, they made me feel like I was part of that family, that team, and it was just beautiful. It was really great.
It was. And like I said, they're just so down to earth and so kind and just so thankful that we're there supporting. And I, and just to kind of piggyback off Will, all the positivity, and they noticed that. They 100% noticed that. And it was just like, we're kind of standing there and Alan was like, do you want to like get a picture? And I was like, whoa, like, yeah, that's great. It's a great moment. And just to be so kind to offer that in the intensity of the moment that, they're in and being very focused, and they really do make us feel. And even at the end of court, when we got up and got dismissed, we were kind of allowed to kind of huddle around it a little bit. And we started talking about some of the testimony that happened. And they were so kind to explain everything. And, what did you think? And how about this, and it was just great to be part of that moment. So